That's too far.
It's a P one. There's a P
Peter
one as
Piper
well.
picked a peck of pickled
No,
peppers.
that's a tongue twister.
It sounded the same thing that you were doing.
Peter Piper picked a patch of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? Yeah, I know that one.
Sally sells seashells by
Sally
the
sells
seashore.
seashells by the seashore.
Sally sells
by the seashore. Sally sells seashells by
Oh,
the
not the
seashore.
she-she.
Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
Sashimi.
Ooh. She sells sashimi.
Sashimi.
Sushi sashimi.
Sushishimi.
Sashimi, wish you was me.
Right. We're recording over here.
Okay.
We're
With the coffee.
recording over there. We got the Miggity mic. Nobody else has a
Much closer to you than it is to anyone
has
else.
a drink. Huh? I like whoever put it on my mug.
Every time you sip the coffee.
This is an ASMR.
That's disgusting.
I felt like I was right there for it.
All right. This is cool. This is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. So, I guess, who wants to be the curator? I feel like Dalton should be the curator.
Why?
You used to doing
curate
these.
greatly.
Okay. So where do we want to start with? Do we want to start with real estate or?
Let's talk about mindset and like motivation and stuff like that.
All right. How do you keep motivation?
How do I keep motivation?
How do you keep motivation?
You guys are my motivation.
Oh.
For real, seriously. Like, how can I preach to you guys to be great and to show up every day and to go out there and call for my owners and do open houses and do what the fuck it takes if I'm not doing it myself? Seriously, you guys motivate me. You know, I think that's one of the things that made me level up was having to, at least in my own mind, be a role model.
Yeah.
To lead by example. I think that's important. And I wish everybody could have that. Because if you guys had your own little teams, you'd have to be that way too.
100%.
Where do you think you'd be without that? Like, do you think would have had to find another set or another style of motivation had it not been introduced to you?
It definitely found me. Like, when those guys moved into my house and I helped them get their license and, it definitely came to me out of nowhere. I wasn't even, really thinking about it. All the right opportunities presented themselves to me. I think if it wouldn't have happened, I'd probably still just be doing open houses every weekend, somewhere around 20 deals a year on my own. And
Was that essentially your introduction to a more fulfilling responsibility? Did you find the responsibility to other people, and then that was the fulfillment, and then it kind of grew from there?
Absolutely. And I found my passion. I loved helping people get their license. I loved helping people get off the ground. Being a mentor and teaching, it really gives you a sense of purpose.
Sure.
And if you're good at something if you can teach it to other people.
Well, the best thing to have is have a mentor and be a mentor, because then you're learning at a higher level, but you're also teaching what you already know, so you're learning twice. So you're solidifying it. And I think in any field, someone, especially if you want to get good at something, you should have a mentor that knows more than you, which would be our real estate coaches and things like that. And then you should have people under you, which you have a whole office essentially under you when you started a brokerage. With your motivation and your introduction to motivation for the other guys at the table, how does that translate to you guys? Can you see his motivation? Does it shine through when he's in the office?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that kind of shines through in the aspect of the accountability that he holds for himself that we see, and then the accountability that he holds for us, where he's constantly reaching out and making sure that, is there anything that we need help with, or can he motivate us with, and things like that.
Yeah.
There's a good question in there for you, and it comes with that leadership thing that you and I both have had to cultivate, and it's that thing of like you're constantly asking people what do they need help with. Do you find it, I don't want to say disheartening or frustrating, but do you find it in any way like you keep asking yourself, how do I get better, bringing that side of them out that really actually reaches out and wants help? Because there's a lot of people that don't really just want to come out and ask for help. They might be struggling with something. They might be, doing something wrong, or, and they don't want to come out and be like, hey, how do I do this, or anything like that. Is that a detriment to leadership, or is it kind of, have you found a way to get around it? Because it is hard to get around.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
I agree.
You have to ask for the things you want. I heard this recently. Somebody said, you don't get what you want for out of life. You don't get what you plan for out of life. You get what you negotiate for out of life. And I feel like asking for help is a form of negotiating.
Sure.
And you have to know what you want, for starters, to ask for help. So, like when we do our one-on-ones and we talk about our goals and all that, like that's for starters to help everybody figure out what it is you actually want out of life, out of your real estate career. I think that it's obviously disheartening when you have people who are not coachable.
Yes.
But the guys like you guys in this room with me right now, like you guys are what makes it worth it.
Right.
You guys actually will take what we talk about and use it. That's what makes